Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Avodah Zarah Daf Nun Beis. We begin on Nun Aleph Amud Beis, 10 lines off the bottom. So we know an Avodah Zarah, an idol, is Asr. We know that it is Asr Bahana. We know as well that it becomes Tameh. It carries a unique Tumas Avodah Zarah, which actually is Midurabanan, as we're going to see later. Question: at what point does this Isser, does this status get activated? As soon as he makes himself this Avodah Zarah, or does that wait until it's worshipped? So only when it's actually served does the Isser get applied. That's the question. Says the Gemara, the answer is depends whose it is. If it's a goy's Avodah Zarah, asur miyad. It is asur immediately, as soon as he makes that Avodah Zarah, even before worshipping. Whereas if it belongs to Yisrael, then it is only asur if in fact it's worshipped. Mas nisan mani Rabbi Akiva. Apparently our Mishnah reflects Rabbi Akiva's Shita, who says so. The Sanya, we have a Brisa where we find a machlekes. So the aforementioned formula is Rabbi Akiva's formula, whereas Rabbi Yishmael disagrees. He says, actually, it's the opposite. It's the other way around. If it's the Avodah Zarah that a Yid made, it becomes Asur right away. By a goy, it must wait until it's worshipped. Masnis and Mani Rabbi Akiva, the Sanya. We find a Brisa, which focuses on the pasuk where Hashem tells us, destroy all the things that you find, all the Avodah Zarahs, Abei Ta'abdun, right? As called Makoimais, all those places, Asher Avdu Sham Hagoy. The Gemara interprets this as a reference to the bekalim, the accessories, which were used to serve the idols, not the locations themselves, the places that it's the accessories, bekalim. And later we're going to see how we, the pasuk speaks about makoimes. How do we know what's going on kalim? In any case, it's going on the kalim. And the question is, how quickly does it become asur? Yachol, perhaps, I will say asum, v'lo gomrim. They started making them, but they didn't actually finish making the product. Or gomrim, v'lo yivim, they made it, but they didn't bring it into the Avodah Zarah. Or yivim, v'lo nishtamshu behen, or they brought it in, but they didn't actually use it. Yachol, yihu asurim, are they already asur? Talmud Leimer, and the answer is no. As the pasuk says, they were used for worship, asher avdu sham hagoyim. We learn from here, so these things are only asur if in fact they were used to serve the idol. Mikan amru. So based on this, it was said that the idols belonging to a guy, which is the subject of this pasuk, is only asur if it's worshipped. V'shal Yisrael asur miyad, but an Avodah Zarah made by a Yid, that's asur right away. Div Rabbi Yishmael. So according to Rabbi Yishmael, if a Yisrael made for himself an Avodah Zarah, as soon as he made it, it's asur. A guy is only asur if he actually worshipped. Rabbi Akiva says just the opposite, and that corresponds to the Shita mentioned in our Mishnah. If it's of a goy, asur miyad, it's asur right away. V'shal Yisrael, but of a yid, ad shati avid is only asur if it's served, if it's worshipped. Let's go back and review the shitas and find their respective sources. So we started with Rabbi Yishmael, focused on that pasuk, destroy the mekaymes, asher avdu sham hagoyim, and we learned bekalim. It's going on the kalim. Really? Amar bekalim shenishtamshu behen lavodas kachav makasum medaber. How can you suggest it's going on accessories? It's going on, the equipment. Hamakayim ksiv. The pasuk clearly refers to places. You have to destroy the areas that were served, that were where the Avodah Zarah took place. Says the Gemara, but that cannot be. It cannot be referring to actual places, because the places The ground doesn't become asur d'chsiv. We have that pasuk, right? Eloyehem al heharim. Their idols are situated atop the mountains. But the mountains themselves remain unaffected by this type of activity. So it cannot be speaking about the places itself, which are going to be destroyed. Instead, neo in and apply it lekalim, the equipment, the accessories that are being used to serve their idols. Mikan Omer, based on this pasuk, we say, a idol of a guy, the actual statue, worshipped by the guy, is only asur if it's worshipped. But if it's a yid, then it's asur right away. So the second part we'll see soon, but the first part has been proven from this pasuk, that a guy's idol must wait until it's worshipped. Asks the Gemara once again, but you just told me that the pasuk is not speaking about actual locations nor actual idols. Rather, it's speaking about kalim, accessories. That's a different story. Of course, by a kli, you have to wait until it's activated, until it's used. But by kalim, you just told me it's going on the kalim, not on the actual idol. So perhaps the actual idol is also right away. Amakra, or the pasuk says like this: Asher atem yershim oisam es eloyehem. So within that same pasuk, we do have a reference to both concepts. Eloyehem are the idols themselves, the object of Avodah Zarah that's being worshipped, and you have Asher atem yershim oisam that you're inheriting from them, and we say that's going on the kalim. So we have that correlation, a connection between the actual statue and the kalim. Makish eloyehem, the kalim, we connect, we link the gods themselves to the accessories, and they're treated the same. Just like ma kalim, you must wait until they're used. Achi avdu, achal afalayehem. Likewise, they're statues. Nami achi avdu, they're only asur once used. So that's Rabbi Shmuel's opinion, that the Avodah Zarah belonging to a guy is only asur if it is used. But Rabbi Kiva loy makish. Now, according to Rabbi Kiva, who doesn't hold of this? He holds that the Avodah Zarah of a guy is asur right away. So apparently, it doesn't connect the statue to the kalim. Kalim, yeah, only once used, but the Avodah Zarah itself is asur right away. So if it doesn't connect, what about this pasuk that seems to connect him? Amalach, I'll tell you, es. You realize the pasuk has the word es between the two parts. We have the kalim, followed by the actual idols Elohehem, but split with the S. S, that disconnects it. Hifsika inyan, to indicate that they run on different tracks. Okay, so now for Rabbi Shmuel, we've just established that according to him, Avodah Zarah of a guy is only asur if worshipped. Ashkechon, we've discovered the source that avodas kecham that belongs to a shalovet kecham, dein asura achati avid. It's only asur if it's worshipped. What about the second part of the equation? That one made by a yid is asur right away. How do we know that? The Yisrael asur miyad min nali. Svaru, plain simple logic. The fact that Torah has to point out that by the goyim you must wait until, apparently if it's a yid, it's asur right away. Svaru, medavid kecham achati avid. If by the goy it's only if served. The Yisrael, if it's a yid, asur miyad, asur right away. Ema, perhaps we can say, Torah is drawing a contrast between a guy, which is asur, and Avodah Zarah yid, perhaps it's not asur at all. Ema, the Yisrael, if it belongs to yid, klala, perhaps it's not asur at all. And that's the contrast between the two. You can't say that. Hashtag nisa, boya. Well, once we know that you have to get rid of it, bury it, get rid of it, as we're going to see later, it's surah like mitzvah. How can you suggest that it's not asur? Why then would the Torah tell you to get rid of it? Well, the ema kedavid kicham. Okay, so perhaps it's on the same level as the guys. It's only asur if worshipped. Makro, the pasuk says by the egel v'eschataschem asher asisem as egel, that sinful egel that you made, indicating that as soon as you made it, mishas asiyah, as soon as the yid makes for himself that Avodah Zarah kamli bechet, he has already committed and sinned. Apparently, it gets activated right away. Well, says the one, maybe the person is sinning right away, but the item is not yet treated as Avodah Zarah until it's worshipped. Ema, perhaps you can say, that's true. We'll make him gavra b'chet. The person is considered to have violated, transgressed, by making an Avodah Zarah for himself. But it's surah mitzvah, perhaps the item does not yet become asur until it's worshipped. We have another pasuk for that. Cursed is a man who manufactures for himself these idols. The pasuk is telling you. And that happens as soon as he makes it. Mishas asiyah, right? Asher yasa. As soon as he makes it, kamli ba'arer. The arer is applied to him. Once again, the same question. Yeah, perhaps on a personal level, he has transgressed right away upon making. But who says the item is considered Avodah Zarah material until worshipped? Ema, perhaps we can say Hanamil make him gaver ba'arer. The person is liable to an arer. But itzuri la mitzvah, the item is not yet aser. It's not yet affected until later. The answer is, look at the bottom part of that pasuk, just quoted. Toyavas Hashem ksiv. It's something despicable. Apparently the item is considered Avodah Zarah material as soon as he makes it for himself. Toyavas Hashem ksiv. So that's Rabbi Shmuel's opinion, that Avodah Zarah of a goy until later, of a yid right away. Rabbi Kiva, now Rabbi Kiva disagrees, who holds that Avodah Zarah of a yid is only usher later. How does he apply this pasuk to Evas Hashem? Davar hamevi de'eva. It's not yet ta'eva upon manufacturing. It's going to happen later. It's going to bring to worship. But Rabbi Kiva. Okay, now let's shift over to Rabbi Kiva's shita and find the sourcing for his opinion. That by the Avodah Zarah of a goy, it's activated immediately. By the yid until later. Rabbi Akiva. Avodas kecham, that belongs to shalevet kecham. That's surah miyah. That's also right away. Minali, how does he know that? Omar ulam akra, the pasuk says psile eloyehem tisrum be'esh. They're idols that they manufacture. Psile means as soon as he carves it, he's paisa, like Hadl, it says psalacha by the luchas, right? They're carved, they're manufactured, they're formed. Misha pasla. Once he does that, nas aliyah, it's already considered eloyehem, their God. Vidach. Now, Rabbi Shmuel disagrees, right? So what does he do with this pasuk? He holds that it's only usher later. That pasuk is needed for a different halacha, to tell you the source that a guy can be mevatel, can nullify the status of his Avodah Zarah if he chooses to do so. Look at the Tanur Rav Yosef. He presented as follows. What do we find that a guy can negate, can cancel the status of his statue? Shenamar psile eloyehem tisser from be'esh. Rashi learns psile over here means lashon poisel. You can disqualify it, you can nullify it, you can negate it, deactivate it. Vidach. Has Rabbi Kiva know this concept? Nafkalei mit Shmuel. He goes to a different pasuk. The Shmuel Rami. Shmuel had an apparent contradiction between two pasuk, two parts of the same pasuk. Ksiv, it starts by saying, "Lo sachmai, don't desire kesev ezav alein, gold and silver that you find on top of the idols." Uksiv, and then it says, "V'lokach dalach, you're free to take it." Well, is it forbidden or not? Right? Okay, so how do you work this out? The answer is if the guy formed it, designed it as a god, and you shouldn't desire it. Hands off. It's asur. But paslay me'eloiha, he chipped away, demolished, he broke it, thus negating its godly standard, its idol status. Then then it's no longer an idol. You can take it. Okay, Rabbi Kiva. We've just discovered his source. Ashkechan Avodah Kechavim that belongs to a Shalevet Kechavim. That's surah miyad. That's also right away. That's the pasuk of Psile, right? As soon as he makes it. What about the other part of the equation? The Israel. If it's a Jewish idol. Ad shati avid minol. How does he know that I must wait until it's used? Amar Yivida Makra. The pasuk in describing of the Zarah used by Yidden v'sam b'seiser places it in a concealed area, which means to say Ad sheyasu dvarim shebaseiser, until he worships it, which he typically does in hiding. Rashi says because he's afraid of the bezdin and people noticing. So it's only becoming an Avodah Zarah if it is worshipped. Vidach. What does the other opinion do with this pasuk? Because he holds that Avodah Zarah is also right away. Vidach mibayle. It's needed. Don't ritzchak menayin. How do we know that Avodah Zarah made by a yid is also bahana, must be done away with, hidden, burned, destroyed? Put it away, bury it, hide it, because it's asur bahana. Vidach. Now the other shita who already used this pasuk, how does he know that in fact there is a concept of isur hana by an idol made by a yid? Nafkalei, it's learned from a different pasuk. Midrav Chizd Amarav. The Amar of Chizd Amarav. Minayin la'avodas kechavim. How do I know that Avodah Zarah shall Yisrael? Shatuna gnisa, they must be put away. Shenamar le'sitel cha'ashera kol eitz. Don't plant for yourself an Asherah tree. Don't make an Avodah Zarah. Eitzel Mizbach Hashem Elokecha. What's the point of referencing a Mizbeach in this context? We're linking them together. Ma Mizbeach Toim K'nisa, just like the material of a Mizbeach. If it's demolished or whatever, you can't just take it. You have to hide it. You have to bury it. Af Asherah Tun K'nisa, the same procedure applies to Avodah Zarah or Asherah material. So you see that it's Asr V'idach. What does the other Shita do with this pasuk? Because he already knows. The Isra of the Avodah Zarah shall Yisra from the pasuk of a Samba Seser. So what does he do with this pasuk? Why is it Torah? Mentioning the Asherah together with the Mizbeach. That's needed for Rish Lakish's point. Damar Rish Lakish, Kalamam B'dayan Sheni Hogan. For one appoints a judge who's not really qualified for the job. Kilo Noiteya Asherah B'Yisrael. It says, oh, he's planting an Asherah tree. Because a leader is like a prominent tree. And if it's not a proper tree, it's like an Asherah tree. Shenemar. The pasuk says, appoint proper judges, proper leaders, Shoftim v'Shoitrim, Titin Lecha B'chol Sharecha. And then it says, V'samach Lei. Right next to it, it says, but be careful. They must be qualified. Lo yisit lecha Asherah kaleitz. Umar Vashi. So what's the correlation to the Mizbeach? Uvemakam Talmid Chachamim. Now, if he appoints an unqualified judge, unqualified leader, well, we have a good alternative. We have a Talmid Chacham available to do the same job, and you're foregoing appointing a proper Talmid Chacham for this unqualified politician. Ki'ilu notri etel Mizbeach. Talmid Chacham is like a Mizbeach, holy like a Mizbeach. You serve food to Talmid Chacham, it's like a carbon on the Mizbeach. So that's the link between Asherah and Mizbeach. Don't plant an Asherah tree. Don't appoint a man as a prominent leader, as a judge, if he's not qualified. When you have a Talmid Chacham, a Mizbeach nearby, you can do the same job. Shenema etzel Mizbeach. So in summation, according to Rabbi Akiva, Avodah Zarah v'goy is Asr instantly. That's based on the pasuk of Psilei Elohim. As soon as he makes it by Yisrael, it's only going to be Asr when actually activated, which is based on V'samba Seser, when he actually uses it. According to Rishmol, it's the other way around. By Yagoy, it's only activated upon use. That's the pasuk of Asher Avdu Shem Hagoyim. Whereas by Yisrael, as soon as he makes it, that's based on the pasuk Ar Ish Asher Yaseh, right? And it says V'tayavas Hashem. It's considered an idol right away. By Rav Hamnuna, here comes an interesting question. So we know that these things, not only do they have Isra, they also carry a Tumah. Tumah is Avodah Zarah because they're associated with Avodah Zarah, so we're speaking about the actual idol or even the accessories. Now, let's say he breaks it. At that point, it becomes batal, right? Right? You can be mevatal these things. Boy Rav Hamnuna. So he had a question. Riseich kli. Riseich means he flattened out, he repaired. He had like a metal utensil which got a hole. Then he goes and he hammers it back together, fixes the kli. So we have this refurbished metal utensil. Riseich kli. La avodas kecham. He did it for the sake of idol use. Mao, what's the halach? Asks the more. First of all, avodas kecham deman. Whose avodah zarah is this? A yid or a guy? Ilema avodas kecham that belongs to the avodah kecham to a guy. Well, here we're speaking about the kli, right? The accessory. An accessory is certainly going to be only activated upon use, as discussed earlier. So, Bein Rabbi Shmuel, Ubein Rabbi Akiva, according to all opinions, Mishamshei Avodas Kechavim, this isn't the actual idol, it's just an accessory, it's going to be used for the idol. Mishamshei Avodas Kechavim, right? That's what it is. Mishamshei Avodas Kechavim, something which is only an accessory, Ein Asurn Ad Sheyavdu, is only Asur upon use. So it's only activated when pressed into service. So that's pretty clear. Ve'ela rather, avodas kecham d'Yisrael. It must be that it was designated for a Yiddish idol. So again, whose shita are we talking about? Aliba Dema. Whose opinion are we discussing? Ilema Aliba Rabbi Kiva, or going like Rabbi Kiva, who says that an Avodah Zarah of Yisrael is only activated upon use. So then, of course, the accessories will be activated only then. Look, he gufa lo mitzra asher the idol itself is only asr if and when it's used. It goes without saying that the accessories have to wait until then too. So that's out of the question. I'll leave with the Rishma. So we're going with Rabbi Shmuel, the Amar who told us a minute ago, Asura miyad, that in this case, meaning Avodah Zarah of a yid is Asur immediately. So what's the status of something which was manufactured to serve that idol? Shall we compare it to itself, so to speak? It's going to serve the idol of the yid, which is Asur immediately upon manufacture. Likewise, the accessory is Asur right away. Or shall we compare it to the other accessories? Right? You can go both ways. You can go to take the accessory of the yid of Avodah Zarah and compare it to the primary element, the Avodah Zarah of the yid itself, Asur right away. Or shall we compare it to the accessory on the other side of the equation, the accessory of the guy, which is only Asur when used? Mishamshin gamrinan. Do we learn this accessory from that accessory? Mahasam, just like over there, meaning the accessory for a guy, Achi Avdu, is Asur only when actually used. Likewise over here, only upon use. Or shall we say, Mina Gomar? We're going to compare the accessory of the Yisrael to the idol of the Yisrael. And just like the idol itself, Asura Miyad is activated right away. As soon as he makes it for himself, Af Mishamsheh Asura Miyad, likewise his accessories are Asur right away. So what's the halach? Says the Gemara, so hold it. Instead of talking about a person who refurbished his broke, think about refurbishing. So why do we focus on refurbished? The same question can be posed in a very simple form. A fellow manufactured a kli to be used as an accessory for his Avodah Zarah. How quickly does it attain its status? So why do you focus on a broken kli that was fixed? The answer is like this. It wasn't as we thought. We're not speaking about something that's going to be designated now for the... This kli had already served an Avodah Zarah. And then the guy came and broke it. Okay, so the guy had used it for the Avodah Zarah and broke it, and in doing so was mevatel the kli, mevatel the isur, mevatel the tumah, right? But now he came and fixed it, repaired it. And we all know that by a clay mateches, a metal utensil, if it's refurbished, if it's repaired, the old tumah comes jumping right back onto it. This is based on a Gemara in Shabbos there. It's a Mishnah. And Rashi explains, he says, because there's a gzeira. People might think, oh, look how quickly it became tahar. It was just tummy a minute ago, because then he broke it and refixed. So people will think, well, you don't have to wait till Her of Shemesh, until nightfall, which will confuse everybody. So there's a special halacha, a special gzeira, that the old tumah comes right back on. Tumah yishana k'mei. And the question here will be, if he refurbishes his kli mateches, do we say that the old tumah of Avodah Zarah returns as well? Bisnan, we have a Mishnah in Meseches Kelim, klei matchos, metal utensils, pshirtein, umekablein tmein, whether they're flat and used like a tray, umekablein, or whether they have the ability to contain, so if it's a container. Either way, if it's serving as a utensil tmein, they have the ability to become tamei if they come into contact with something that's tamei. Nishtaver, what if they break? Toharu. The tumah leaves them, but then if chazar va'asan kelim, we turn them back into kelim, we refurbished. Halacha is chazru, the tumah, yishana, the old tumah reverts. It comes right back. So that's a general rule regarding these types of kelim. So the question is, will this concept of the returning tumah apply to the tumah pertaining to Avodah Zarah, which is merely midrabanan, right? His question was like this. Kihadra Tumah, when should we say that Tumah returns? Hanamila Tumah Deraisa, perhaps that's specific to a Tumah Min HaTorah, a regular Tumah. Well, Tumah Derabanan, but Tumah Avodah Zarah is only Derabanan. Like perhaps we're not going to be that strict and have it come back, jump back on to the refurbished Kli. No, perhaps there's no difference. Any type of Tumah comes back. Asks the Gemara, so why did he focus on Tumah of Avodah Zarah? He could have asked the same question. They could have asked it, Shar Tumas Derabanan. He could have asked regarding other Tumas as well, which only with the Rabbanan, like liquid, which is tummy, touches a Kli. It's only mitami with the Rabbanan. So you could have asked it regarding other Tumas the Rabbanan. You're right. Both were asked. One will sort of be drawn out from the other one. He asked a question on top of another question. So this question really was born out of a different question. The first question will be Tumah D'Rabbanan, an ordinary classic, right? Tumah D'Rabbanan, mihadra lehadra. Does it return to the refurbished Kli or not? Were the Chacham so strict regarding even a Tumah D'Rabbanan or not? That was question number one. Question number two, which is born out of this question, intim Salayma lehadra. If perhaps we shall suggest that this sort of returning Tumah will not apply to a Tumah D'Rabbanan, well, you can still ask, perhaps Tumah of Avodah Zarah is more strict. That's Avodah Zarah, right? So Tumah David's Gechavim Misham Chumra, because of that strictness, David's Gechavim Mishav Rabban, perhaps the Chacham would consider this type of Tumah, despite it only being the Rabban, perhaps it was considered, was upgraded and treated like Ketumah D'Oraisa, in which case it will jump back right onto the Kli, or perhaps not, take it, we'll leave it unresolved. Okay, speaking about this sort of double equation, this Isser and Tumah present on Avodah Zarah materials. Here comes another question. Boy Minei, Rabbi Yechon asked a question from Rabbi Yanai. Takrevis Avodas Gechavim. So you have Avodah Zarah offerings, things which are offered to the Avodah Zarah. Shel Eichlim, but they happen to be foodstuffs, food materials, a loaf of bread. Now we know that once food becomes tummy, you can't be matahir that food, right? You can't put it in the mikveh. Like a kli, you can put it in the mikveh, and it's freed of its tumah, but not so by food. That's the halach. So what happens to be Avodah Zarah material served to an idol? Mao. What's the halach? Mi mahani lahu bitol l'tarina mituma oiloi. So if the guy is mavatal, he smashes a loaf of bread, he's mavatal the Avodah Zarah aspect, so it's no longer asur. Does that also accomplish to free it from its tumah or not? Asks the Gemara, why are you focusing on food? The same question could have asked regarding a utensil. If bittul is applied, does it also free itself of its tumah? Well, that's no question. Of course it does. Kalim, regarding a kli like he had no question. Kivan this lotar b'mikvah, since we find that a kli typically can't free itself of tumah. Right, if a kli becomes tumah, just the regular tumah, and you dunk it into the mikvah, you've now renewed the kli, refreshed it, and it's no longer tummy. So we find that there's a concept of tumah jumping off the kli. So in our case, that he took the kli, which is asr on account of Avodah Zarah, and it was mavatli, smashed it, broke it, of course. Just like it loses the isser, why shouldn't it lose the tumah? He nullified it. It's no longer the way it was, right? Tumah nami betela. Of course the tumah becomes batal. There's no question that it works. So if the isser leaves, the tumah leaves. They leave in tandem. They leave together. So that wasn't the question. It was only food that he was concerned about. Kihu and baile. The question was specific to eichlin, to food. Because, as we mentioned, food there's no standard procedure for removing tumah from food. Once tummy, always tummy. So in this case, where it's Avodah Zarah material, even if he does bittul and removes the isser, it's no longer forbidden, but perhaps it's still tummy. Ask the Gemara, okay, I understand, but why focus on takrevis? A loaf of bread offered to Avodah Zarah as an offering, in order to ask you a question. You could have asked it in a slightly different and more simple context. The same question could be posed if the loaf itself turned into Avodah Zarah material. It was worshipped. He bowed to the bread as a source of bounty or whatever, right? And the same question applies there. If he does bittul, does he free the bread of its tumah or not? Ask the Gemara. Says the Gemara, let me buy it. Had no question. In a case where the loaf of bread was actually used as an idol itself, Because over there, if he's mavatalit, of course, it's freed of its isser and freed of its tumah. We don't differentiate between the two things. Given the isur batal, once the isur leaves, tumah nami betela, the tumah status also leaves as well, because they go in tandem. So that wasn't the question. The only question he had was regarding kikame boile takroives lavais gechav shaloichlin mai. If he served the idol with a loaf of bread, it was takroives. We know that takroives is doomed. Given the isur loy batal, since the isur never leaves the takroives, even if after bittul. Rav Gidla told us the other day, Ziv Chemeisim, it's like a person that's dead, it can't lose that status. So perhaps, if the Isra stays, the Tumah stays. Tumah nami loy batelu, it can't be vatal Tumah either. Or we can perhaps draw a line between the two things. True, the Bittul on the Takrivis will not relieve it of its Isra, because that's Minhat Torah. Isur, which is Dairai, so that can't leave, loy batal. But perhaps Tumah, which is only Midrabanan, as soon as he's Mavatal, perhaps that will jump off, batal, take it, we leave it unresolved. So in summation, if it's the Avodah Zarah itself, if it's Mavatal, it loses the Isur, loses the Tumah. If it's a Kli used in any context of Avodah Zarah, again, a Kli can free itself of Tumah, so if there's Bittul done, the Isser is gone, and so is the Tumah. The question was, food used in a Takrevis setting. So even after Bittul, the Isser will stay. The question is, perhaps the Tumah will leave, since it's only Midrabanan. Take. Here comes a new question. Rabbi Yosef ben Shaul, he asked the question, May Rebbe. Kelim sheshimshu behen bebeis chonyoy. Do the Chachamim apply a knas, a penalty, a strictness, in cases where the kli itself is not yet asur min ha-Torah, but since it was used in an inappropriate setting, things which resembled Isser and Avodah Zarah, perhaps, even though these are cases coming up which are not really going to impact the kli min ha-Torah, perhaps it still cannot be used in the Beis HaMikdash. Is that so? So one example is kelim, equipment, sheshimshu behen bebeis chonyoy, which are used in a place called Beis Chonyoy. There's like sort of a temple in Egypt. And the story was that Shimon HaTzadik, great Shimon HaTzadik, had passed away, and his two sons had this rivalry, and one of them ran off to Egypt, escaped, and made himself a little like a temple. And it wasn't really Avodah Zarah, according to our Gemara. It wasn't Avodah Zarah. It was just a place to bring karbanos for Hashem, but of course it was not the right setting. It wasn't appropriate. So a kli that served this place is not really Avodah Zarah equipment. It's not really asur min ha-Torah, but perhaps it should be disallowed from use in the Beis HaMikdash. Is that so or not? Kelim sheshimshu behen beis chonyoy. Mao, what is their status? Sheyishtamshu behen Beis HaMikdash, if we should choose to use them in the Beis HaMikdash. Mao sheyishtamshu behen Beis HaMikdash. And this question was posed, of course, only if Beis Chonyoy wasn't really regarded as a place of Avodah Zarah, because if yes, then of course the kli is asur. There's no question it cannot be used in the Beis HaMikdash. It was only posed aliba de madamar, according to the opinion that Beis Chonyoy, this temple, was lav Beis Avodas Kechavmi, wasn't really a Beis Avodah Zarah, the Snan, as this opinion is found in the following Mishnah, that in fact it's not really Avodah Zarah, Kohanim. Sheshimshu Beis Chonyoy, the Kohanim who served in this place, they're locked out of the Beis HaMikdash. Lo yishamshu b'mikdash sheb'Yerushalayim. They can no longer serve in Yerushalayim. They should have known better than going to this place, right? Even though it's not really Avodah Zarah. Be'enoi tzarech leiman. It goes without saying, lever acher, if they actually were involved in Avodah Zarah and idol worship, of course they're locked out. So clearly, Beis Chonyoy is not really Avodah Zarah. And the question will be, Kohanim, perhaps these men who served there, they should have known better. Hu de kansin Rabban applied Gzeira. They're intelligent people. They shouldn't have done that. They should have known better. Aval kelim, but kelim equipment. Well, what do they know, right? The equipment itself has no intelligence, so perhaps we're not going to disallow them from Beis HaMikdash use. No, perhaps there's no difference. Once it was used in that context, it's inappropriate to bring it to the Beis HaMikdash. Amalei, Rebbe responded, Asurin Mein. Yep, they're banned from Mikdash use. As to my source, well, actually, we had this pasuk that served as a source for this Isser. And unfortunately, it slipped our mind. I can't recall the pasuk. Ushchanu. So now Rabbi Yisrael ben Shaul asked him a question. You say that the kelim are asur? We have a pasuk which speaks about a very similar type of case. Equipment that was used inappropriately, but were not technically deemed Avodah Zarah, nor technically deemed asur. And still, they were disallowed for Mikdash use. Apparently, there is a knas for this type of thing. So the pasuk speaks about Kol HaKelim Asher Hezniach HaMelech Achaz Malchusa B'Malei. So the Kehana was speaking to the king Chizkiyahu, and speaking about this former king by the name of Achaz, who diverted the kelim, misused them for Avodah Zarah. Look what we did. Heichanu, V'ikdashnu. We prepared them, we purified them. Apparently, they were reincorporated into Mikdash use. And the reason is because Achaz has no business. He had no power. He had no authority to misuse these kelim. So they're not considered kelim of Avodah Zarah. They don't become asur. You can't take somebody else's hat and turn it into Avodah Zarah. It's not your business, not yours, right? Likewise, Achaz was not able to adversely impact these kelim and this equipment, and that's why they were pressed back into Mikdash service. I will assume the pasuk means Heichanu, we prepare them by toiveling them. Dat vilinu, we put them into the mikvah to free them of any tumah. Higdashnu, dagdashinu, we Rashi says reapply the holy ointment, the shemen hamishcha, to bring them back up to proper status. Apparently, it's okay using even equipment which was used in Avodah Zarah settings, and that's inconsistent with your halacha that anything used in this type of in this type of setting, like Beis Chanya, cannot be brought into the Mikdash. Amar lei. So first of all, Rebbe was very thankful. He says, actually, right on. That was the pasuk. That was the pasuk I was thinking of. Baruch atosh l'shamayim, blessed are you to Hashem. Shechzat le'avidasi. You restored my lost pasuk. But actually, the correct meaning of the pasuk is very different. They did not want to use that equipment anymore. Heichanu means shegad aznu. We prepare them. We mean to put them away forever. We buried them because they were impacted. Vigdashnu means we replaced them with others. Shegdashnu achem tachteh. We took other kelim instead of them because these can no longer be used in the Beis Hamikdash. So perhaps we can support this notion with another pasuk, with another Mishnah. Lema Mesayalei. Perhaps the following Mishnah will support Rebbe and his opinion. So we have one of the chambers, the northeastern chamber of the Azara, where they buried the stones of the base of the Mizbeach, which were defiled by the Yevanim. So when the Chashmonaim vanquished the Yevanim, they had to take apart the Mizbeach, which was used for Avodah Zarah during the Yevanim's reign, and they buried the stone, they buried the material. Despite the fact, big deal. It was a big deal, but they didn't affect the stones because they weren't the owners. So their activity, as bad as it was, should not have affected the Mizbeach status. So why did they have to bury it? Why did they have to demolish the Mizbeach and bury the stones? Apparently, because it's inappropriate to use it for karbanis any further. That's a right to Rebbe's shita. So again, the mission is like this: Mizrach is finest, this particular chamber. But in it, Ganzu, they hid Beis Chashmonai, the leaders of Chashmonai, es avnei Mizbeach, the stones taken off the Mizbeach, sheshiktu anshe Yavan, which the Yevanim defiled when they used it for Avodah Zarah. Vav Rav Sheshes, he explains, sheshiktu means lavetz kechav, they use it for idol worship. There you go. Amar Papa, no, you can't prove anything from there. Hasam Kra Ashkach V'Darash, the Chashmonaim discovered a pasuk. It's very different. The pasuk says, "Bo ba pritzim mechalalua." When the pritzim, the goyim, come in, they defile it. As soon as they enter and they use these things, they did affect the status. And u'machalal l'kedusha. So Rashi explains, V'chilulua is because it loses its kedusha. It becomes chulin. It becomes mundane. It becomes theirs. It's as though the Torah Hashem empowered the Goyim to take over. Now they're the owners. And once they're the owners, of course, if they use it for Avodah Zarah, it becomes Asr. That explains why it had to be buried. So now the Chashmonaim were faced with a dilemma. What should we do? Amri. So they were thinking, what should we do? We can't use the Mizbeach, right? Nidberinu. So a simple solution would have been to have a guy come and be Mavatal, the Avodah Zarah. Chip away from the Mizbeach, in which case he's demolishing the Avodah Zarah, and it loses its Isra. And then there's no need to demolish it, right? And rebuild it. Well, we can't do that because a chipped Mizbeach is unfit for use. The stones need to be pristine and whole. Avarim Shleimos, Amar Achmana Torah, requires full stones, unchipped. Ninserinu. Let's chip it and then, shave it down to make it smooth again. You can't do that either. You can't use metal equipment on the Mizbeach. Lo Yisanef Aleim Barzel. You can't apply any metal equipment onto the Mizbeach. Amar Achmana, so says the pasuk. And that's why they had to take it apart and bury it. Vamai, why bury it? Let them break it, okay. And then take the stones for personal use. I mean, once it's chayil, once it's chulin. Miloi Amar of Eisha. Didn't we learn elsewhere regarding Bikshu, Lignois, Kol Kesev, Vazav Shabba'ilam? The truth is that after the Churban, they want to require everybody to bury their gold and silver, all the coins out there, Mishum Kaspa V'Dahavish Yerushalayim, because the gold and silver of Yerushalayim, which was dispersed throughout the world by the Romans, by the Goyim. So you shouldn't be able to use any more gold and silver coins. Asks the Gemara, well, Mishum Kaspa V'Dahavish Yerushalayim, because of the gold and silver taken to Yerushalayim, which were Hegdish, forbidden material. So you shouldn't use any out there, lest you take the risk of bumping into Yerushalayim material. And the question was posed. I mean, the question was asked, Yerushalayim, Havi Ruba Da'alma, you think the material coming from Yerushalayim encompassed most of the gold and silver throughout the world? Why, Elor Abaye, said Abaye, it was a very specific coin which was unique to Yerushalayim. Bikshud Lignes, the Chachamim, sought to ban a very specific coin that originated in Yerushalayim. Lignes, dinara, a special dinar, Hadrayana, which was imprinted with Hadrayana's Caesar's image or his imprint, Turyaina, a different general, different leader, Shaifa, which was clearly old and worn out and had come from Yerushalayim. So you bump into any such coin, hands off, Ipnei, because Tivi Yerushalayim, because most of these came from Yerushalayim and were Hegdish. So that was the initial thought. But then they switched tracks because they found the pasuk. The pasuk mentioned earlier, they found a source in the Torah that's okay. The pasuk ubo b'pritz michilalua, that when the goyim come in, they're deemed owners, and the kedusha leaves the Beis Hamikdash and the Beis Hamikdash material. In which case, unfortunately, right, is no longer kedusha, and you can use these coins. So, certainly in the case of the coins, the point was that everybody could just use the coins for personal use. So why not the same with the Mizbeach? Right? Just like when you find a coin somewhere in the world, although it may originate from Yerushalayim, you can use it. So once the Yevanim defiled the Mizbeach and made it sort of mundane into non-Kedusha, so then just take it and use it for personal use. Well, it's inappropriate because it was a Mizbeach. At a certain point in time, it was used for karbanes, so it's inappropriate. As opposed to the coins, which were never really used for actual karbanes, or right? Hasam. Yeah, it's very different from the coins, because over there, lo yishtamshu b'hu l'gavaya was never used for gavaya. Hacha, here by the Mizbeach, which was used for karbanes, kivan d'yishtamash b'hu l'gavaya, it's inappropriate to take it for personal use. Lav erech aretz, not erech eretz, not acceptable. Ishtamushu b'hu d'yoyta, to have it, a layman, a regular person, use it for personal use. Continues the mission. Okay, so on this topic of a bittul, once again we learned that a guy has the ability to be mevata, to nullify his own idol, his friend's idol, if he breaks it, if he smashes it, right? But a Yisrael doesn't have that power. Ein mevatel. He can't be mevatel not only his own idol, even an idol of a goy. Now, if an idol has the idol itself and also accessories, what happens? Hamavatl avodah zarah. So when the guy is mavatal, the actual idol, bitel mishamshea, automatically the equipment is batal as well, because they are tafel, right? They're secondary to the idol. There's no idol, there's no accessories. Bitel mishamshea, but if it only nullifies the accessories, mishamshen mutar, so they become mutar, but bihi, the actual idol, stays asura. Masnli Rebbe, so Rebbe taught his son, Masnli Rebbe Reb Shimon Rebbe, his son Reb Shimon, he taught him as follows. You should know, a guy could mevatel his own or his friend's idol. So Reb Shimon told his father, Rebbe, I recall that in your youth you taught us as follows, a bit different. A guy could mevatel his own idol and also one of Yisrael. And the question is, why did you change? Now you're only telling us that a guy has the power to be mevatel Avodah Zarah of a guy and not of a yid. So the Gemara will ask, actually, Ud Yisrael Mika mevatla? How can we say that Avodah Zarah of a yid has bittul? We know it doesn't. We just learned that today. You have to bury it, dispose of it. Amrav Hillel. Let me explain to you what's going on. Let me explain to you the meaning of Rebbe's original statement. How can a guy be mevatel Avodah Zarah of a yid? Lo nitzracha must be speaking that it was owned jointly by a guy and a yid. Sheyesh lo ba shutfus. The guy has part ownership in the idol. In that case, he can be mevatel the idol despite it being partly owned by a yid. So bialdusa mekasaver, ubiziknusa mekasaver. So how do we explain this sort of switch in Rebbe's position? In his youth, he promoted that a guy can be mevatel, this jointly owned idol. But later on, in his older years, he switched to say that he can only be mevatel Avodah Zarah of a guy. But if it's owned even partially by yid, there's no bittul. How do we explain both positions? Answers the Gemara. Let me explain to you like this. Initially, Rebbe held, Yisrael adaited ad gecham palach. True, Yisrael is a part owner, but Avodah Zarah is not really a Jewish thing, right? And he's not really committed to Avodah Zarah, but he wants to, he goes along with it to retain his bailas, to retain his ownership. Lest the guy just, walk away with the idol. So he has to sort of indicate that in fact he's also committed to the idol, he's also worshipping it, thereby retaining his ownership and his claim to ownership, right? So, since this element, this aspect of ownership, this aspect of worship that the Yid is expressing is really only on account of the guy, to impress the guy. So it's sort of contingent upon the guy's worship. It's linked to the guys serving the idol. So once the guy is mevatel his own portion, automatically the Yisrael nami mevatel. The portion of the Yid is also automatically batel because it's sort of linked to the guys. So that's what Rebbe held in his youth. And that explains why when the guy is mevatel, everything becomes batel. Because the Yid's portion is dependent upon the guys. Later on in his life, Rebbe reverted. He held no. Who says the Yid's portion is dependent upon the guys? Yisrael adat nafshei palach, the Yid is worshipping on his own account, independent of the guy. And therefore, when the guy does the bittul de nafshei, he's only mevatel his own portion. the Yisrael lay bottle, but Yisrael's portion remains intact. Now, Ika de Masla Seifa. Some had a different version in terms of what Rav Hillel Breder of Rivalis was the point that he was trying to make. The point he was making was on the second part of the mission. Asif, where it says Yisrael Einu Mevatel. Mishnah says Yisrael cannot be Mevatel the Avodah Zarah belonging to a guy. And the question is Pshita, obviously. I mean, he can't even be Mevatel his own. How could he be Mevatel the guys? On this we have Amar Hillel, Breder of Rivalis. L'nitzrucha must be speaking Sheish Bashutfus. We're not speaking about the idol exclusively owned by a guy. It was owned by a guy and a yid. And the point of the Mishnah is V'kamashmon Yisrael hu delay mevatel de'ovid kichavim. True, the Yisrael cannot be mevatel the guy's portion. Aval ovid kichavim denafshe mevatel. But the guy could mevatel his own portion. And we don't say, well, since the Jew's part is resistant to bittul, likewise the guy's part. No, the guy can mevatel his part independent of the Jews. Now there was yet a third version of this halacha. Ika, some demasla a brisa. They learned Rab Hillel Breder Valis' halacha on a brisa, which says, Rab Shimon Nasser Eimer, Avodah Zarah Yisrael ein lo b'tei lamis. A Jew's idol can never be negated. My lamis, what does that mean? Never. It's enough to say it doesn't have bittul. Why add the word lamis? Amar Hillel Breder Valis, and Yitzchak must be speaking el sheish lo yitchavim b'shutfus, that even when a guy partly owns this idol, so the guy is a part owner, still the part belonging to the Yisrael has no bittul. V'kamashman, the point here is to teach us the Yisrael adata the nafshei palach, that when the Yid serves the idol, he worships the idol, it's based on his own personal commitment, unlinked to the guy, and therefore even if the guy is mevatel the Avodah Zarah, his part of the Avodah Zarah, so only that part becomes batel, that the part belonging to Yisrael remains in place. Okay, so bottom line is we learned that a guy can mevatel Avodah Zarah, but not a Yid. We have Rav Hillel Breder Rivalis, who teaches us an interesting point regarding a shutfus. So according to the first version of this point, he was coming to explain what Rebbe held in his youth, that if it's a jointly owned Avodah Zarah, perhaps if the guy is mevatel his part, everything becomes batel because the Jew is sort of dependent on the guy, then he changed his mind on that. We look at each one independent of the other. According to the second version, he's going on the second part of the Mishnah, the Yid cannot be mevatel Avodah Zarah guy, and even if he's a partner, so he can't be mevatel his part, but the guy could still be mevatel his part. It's unaffected by the Yid's part. Some apply the halacha to a bris, where we learn that if it's a jointly owned Avodah Zarah, the guy could mevatel his part, but even when he does it, the Yid's portion remains in place. Okay, regarding the first part of the block, we had a shaila regarding how quickly does it become asr. So we have the idol of a guy or of a Yid. According to Rabbi Akiva, by the guy it's asr right away. It's based on the pasuk psilei el lihim. As soon as he makes it, by Yid, it's only activated when used. V'sam baseser, when he serves it and worships it in hiding. According to Rishmol, it's just the opposite. By the guy, it's only when worshipped. Asher avdu shem hagayim. By Yisrael, it says To'eva Tavas Hashem right away. We discussed the question of Tumah. Does the old Tumah jump back onto the refurbished Kli? If it's Tumah Avodah Zarah, perhaps it's more Chomer than Tumah D'Rabbanan. We had another question regarding foodstuffs used in Takrevis circumstance. So, if there's a bittul on that, the Isser never leaves. The question is perhaps the Tumah would leave. It's only Tumah D'Rabbanan, Teiku. We had a shaila regarding Kalim, items used inappropriately, but not technically not Asr, not Torah. Perhaps there's an Isser D'Rabbanan. We had a machlekes on that, and we tried to prove it from the story of Achaz, from the story of the Yevanim. but we had an answer in each one. And then we discussed the halacha of bittul, that a guy can negate, nullify, and cancel the status of his Avodah Zarah. All the best to you, and Atzlacha Rab.